Greetings, comrades. We are here to respond to general questions that have been posted. If you are joining us now, you are free to write your question in the comment section and see if we are able to assist you. In the last video, not the one we did yesterday, the previous one, when we were talking about the expire of the grace period for the Zimbabwe exemption permits, where we said if you're a holder of a ZEP permit, you must ensure that if you do not qualify to move to another visa, you must ensure that by the 30th of June 2023, you need to be out of South Africa so that when you visit in future, you do not have problems. Then another comrade thought that I was saying, once you are out of South Africa, you should be out of South Africa on the 30th and get back to South Africa on the 1st. I did not mean that. I said because you do not qualify to move to another visa and the deadline is the 30th of June 2023. If you remain in South Africa beyond the 30th of June 2023, it means when you get to the port of entry, you'll be declared undesirable. But if you move out of South Africa on or before the 30th of June 2023, and you might want maybe in August or in December just to come for a visit or for shopping, you will not have problems. This is what I meant. So the comrade misunderstood, thought that I was saying that in ZEP holders will then have to come back from the 1st of July. This is not what I meant. You know that if you overstay and you are declared undesirable, you cannot be able to visit South Africa. I think this clarifies the point that I was making. Morning, comrade Oslen Chidugu from Cape Town. I've been following on television the city council in Cape Town saying they are finding a solution to load shedding. We are still learning more on what they are doing. Comrade Wiseman Zamoguhle Mabena writes, he says, remember I said you are responding to general questions, so you can post your question, we'll be able to respond to it. Comrade Wiseman Zamuhle Mapena says, when are you going to be Zimbabwean president? Comrade Wiseman, it's not for me to to decide. It's the people of Zimbabwe. If the people of Zimbabwe want me and the party that I belong to contest in elections, whether it's 2023 elections, whether 2028 elections, and they want to vote us into office, we will avail ourselves. So it is not about us saying we want this, or myself in particular to say, I want to be a councillor, I want to be a member of parliament, I want to be a president, or I want to be a senator. It has to be the people of Zimbabwe that make that decision. Because as we always say, that you have problems with the political leaders who then declare what they want to be and then use money to attain political office and do nothing for the people that elected them. But if you are a servant of the people, you are sent by the people to a specific office to address a specific issue, it becomes easy to even account. So if the people in my ward, in my rural constituency, Ward 4, they say they want me to be a member of council and being their representative at Umzingwane District Council, they will give me a specific a mandate and a specific task which I'll be expected to perform at Umzingwane Rural District Council and be able to report to them. Comrade Abel Belly says, hi, Mr. Mapena, just joined you. Tell me, I was not given days upon my arrival this December. So So does that mean I can be here until December? If you are a holder of ZEP, Comrade Abel Belly, you are here up to 30th of June 2023. That is if you cannot move to another visa. Make sure that you will be in Zimbabwe or elsewhere by the midnight of 30th of June if you do not qualify to move to another visa. Comrade Maxine Sichela is asking about my age. He says, how old are you? I'm, I'm 52. I'll be turning 53 on the 3rd of July, 2023. So you can as well begin to put some presents out there. I will appreciate any book by a Marxist. If you buy me a present, any literature by a Marxist, I will appreciate that. Whether I have the book or not, but if you buy me a book as my present, a Marxist book, I will appreciate. Comrade Augustine Mlambo says, are you ready for this? Yes, I am. Comrade Mchasisele Gwaza Gwaza, umfana kaKhanget says, why are you silent when boys are being raped? I'm not sure whether you are referring to a specific issue, but we condemn any abuse, be it boys or girls. We condemn that. And we have always called on the law enforcement agencies to take action and ensure that those that are indeed on the wrong side of the law, they are brought to trial. Comrade Duduzile Spindi says, presents are coming, Mr. Mapena. Thank you. Thank you. Just go to a bookshop and look for a Marxist book. I will appreciate that. Comrade Timothy Tita says, kindly inform situation of permanent resident. If you have applied more than 4 years, no results, what is happening in department? Firstly, what we need to understand, Comrade Timothy Teta, is that there is a lot of problems in the department. I have seen, as we have spoken before, that some people are selling the permanent residence permits to about 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. So it's possible that yours might have been sold to someone. But you have my WhatsApp number, which is 083, which I'm writing here, 340 1000. We can assist. If you WhatsApp, give us your details. We can assist to track within head office. But surely it cannot take this long. And I hope that you are still legal in the country because you apply for a permanent resident when you are still using a normal permit so that when it delays like this, you are not going to be a victim of an arrest by police officials. And Comrade Ali Busan is asking about my shoe size. I don't receive shoe presents, Comrade Ali Busan, but as you know, I am short, so I wear size 7. Comrade Zaza Matura is asking, and we're to title this video based on the question that he asked. He says, what are the possible outcomes of the ZEP court case? There are two outcomes, basically. There are two possible outcomes. What we should be discussing is what is likely to happen after the High Court judgment. But there are two possible outcomes. The first, the one outcome is that the court might rule in favor of ZEP holders. Secondly, the court might rule against ZEP holders. But either way, which is likely to happen after the High Court judgment, if the High Court agrees or grant the person, those that will have lost the court case, grant them leave to appeal, it is likely that those that the court will not have ruled in their favor might appeal to a higher court, which is the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein, and which is normal in legal processes. If the Supreme Court upholds the judgment of the High Court, the people might, depending on who will have lost the case, might go to the Constitutional Court, which is the final. So if it takes that route, it means that it will take years to resolve this legal issue in the courts. That is, if, say, the court rules against the ZEP holders, and the court grants a permission to appeal to a higher court, it will take years to resolve. I do not know what it will mean to holders of ZEP, whether those that will be appealing will then be asking the court to ask the government to consider extending the grace period while the case is before the courts. I can't recall what were the reasons, whether it was technical or there were reasons of dismissing that case, which came before the courts on urgent basis. Because I think the court said the ZEP case was not urgent, therefore it could not have been heard on urgent basis. So I can't recall whether it was because of legal, of technical reasons or on the merit of the case. I cannot recall. But if the government, say, loses, government might also as well appeal to the higher court if the court grants that permission to appeal. So that's what I understand, Comrade Zaza Madura. Or government might be content with the court judgment of the High Court and maybe cite lack of resources to pursue the case to the Constitutional Court. So we are just speculating. We are just speculating because the question says, what are the possible outcomes of the court, which in this case we do not know what the court will say, but either way, the court might rule in favor of the ZEP holders or against the ZEP holders. Comrade Fabi Boriwondo writes, is the study visa coming out? The child is already accepted at one of the university. I'm not sure when you applied for a study visa. We are having these questions. Someone sent me an inbox asking, saying the child was granted a study visa for 3 years at a university. Was it? I said the 3 years, I think, but the child, it appears she did not perform well in the last year and wanted to repeat, which therefore required the child to get a 1-year visa to complete the studies, and it is still not out. You need to check with the VFS to check where they are in terms of, in fact, where the Department of Home Affairs is in terms of the processing of your study visa application for your child. But we'll also check as well. I've not checked the calendar. Maybe I've been concentrating on other things. I'm not sure when universities are opening because there was delay in the announcement of the metric results. So I've not checked, but I'm sure you do know. But let's make a follow up on study visas so that those that want to proceed and can have their study visas. Comrade Richard Ndomboza Mahajana, I think I skipped your question. You had said, let me be naughty, besides being a youth leader and a usher at BICC, what was your profession before joining politics? I've always been a worker. I worked for Bulawayo Bottlers in Zimbabwe. I worked for insurance company in South Africa. So I've always been a worker, Comrade Richard Domboza Mahajana. Comrade Alpha Pokane Manyele asked, which is your best candidate for 2023? I do not have. I do not have the best candidate. The Central Committee of the Zimbabwe Communist Party is meeting tomorrow to have a discussion around these issues. So I'm not sure whether the Central Committee will um, resolve on the 2023 elections, our attitude to 2023 elections, but there's going to be a discussion in the Central Committee of the Zimbabwe Communist Party's meeting on Saturday, 28th. Yeah, it's meeting on the 28th. We will indeed discuss the issue of elections. It is then that I'll be able, depending on how the Central Committee resolves, whether we'll be able to say this is how we're going to approach the 2023 elections. Comrade Abeli Belly writes again, are there any further more engagements you are doing with Home Affairs, or our last hope is the court? The decision not to extend, while it's a decision communicated by it was not actually communicated by the Home Affairs in any case. It was communicated by the minister in the presidency, Comrade Ngubane, on the 25th of November 2021. It was a cabinet decision informed by the ANC. That's what we understand. It's an ANC decision, which it then excuse me. It's an ANC decision informed. It's an ANC decision, which then instructed, as we understand, its deployees in government not to extend ZEP. So this is why we continue to lobby the leadership of the ANC and its alliance partners, because we believe that if the ANC and its alliance partners were to review the decision and understand our submission, that in our view, while we respect the decision that was taken, but understand our submission, that maybe it was in the best interest for everyone to arrive at a different decision. If they are persuaded, we think they are in a position to inform their deployees in government to say, please, we recommend that, as the ANC, we recommend that you review this decision and extend the Zimbabwe exemption permits, or introduce a new visa where the majority of ZEP who do not qualify will then be able to apply and qualify. That's the basis of our engagement, Comrade Abeli Belly. Comrade Febi Morondo says, how can I inbox you, say she gets ZEP and apply in December? I just posted my WhatsApp number, Comrade Feb. I said 083 340 1000. You can send me a WhatsApp message. We are getting to conclusion. Let me just deal quick with the last three questions. Comrade Tandazani Zimba says, kahle kahle vele kuyini okwakwenza wazidingela i-stress ngokusapota lokho okusapotayo. I combine this with Makasela. Comrade Makasela, Ziboniso Makasela says uzayeka nini ukusapota angazi i-Arsenal or bathi ise angisazi ukuthi uthini. But and then Comrade Mbonisi Ncube, the last one, locally supporter Liverpool. Look, these are sports fanatics who are writing. I support the Highlanders, the Kaizer Chiefs, and the Liverpool. All three are not doing well. Highlanders didn't do well in the last season. The season is yet to start. I think in March, we hope it's going to improve. Kaizer Chiefs is not doing well, as you know. But I support Kaizer Chiefs. Liverpool is not doing well. We hope we are going to beat Real Madrid. I think it's on the 15th or so of February in the Champions League quarter, last 8. Those are the teams that I support. Comrade Moyofaya says, how many kids do you have? This is too personal, comrade. Comrade, and do you have kids ngaphandle? This is too personal, but in any case, you can't say a child who has parents ngaphandle. There's nothing like that. In our African tradition, kawula mntwana wangaphandle. Every child is a child. You have equal rights. This thing of saying, if you have a child outside wedlock, then umntwana wangaphandle, there's nothing of that sort in our African culture. Comrade Mo Shabampofu says, Utini, Nat Diesel, I know nothing. I haven't seen anything about Nat Diesel. Maybe I've been out of touch on some other issues. I've been tracking other issues, and this one skipped me. And Comrade Avoid Masiraha, which I think is the last question, says, why do you think socialism is the answer to, let me read again, why do you think socialism is the answer to contemporary challenges? Comrade Avoid Masiraha, indeed, socialism is the answer. Why, in a crisis of capitalism, since the emergence of social classes, in our case, under feudalism and under capitalism, the majority of the people, the workers and the peasants, are on the receiving end. Also, during slavery, the working class or the peasant who constitute the majority have been on the receiving end. The state emerged to advance the interest of the ruling class. And the ruling class today, the ruling class today is the capitalist class that control our governments globally. This is why it's important that if we are to ensure that there's peace in the world, there's food security, people have access to clean water, quality education, access to healthcare facilities, we need to move to the next stage of human development, which is socialism. We can only have peace, we can only have economic prosperity when the working class and peasants have gained hegemony over the state. This is why we are saying the alternative is socialism. It is the next stage of human development. In our case in Zimbabwe, which I think another comrade raised, I can't remember his question, but in our case in Zimbabwe, we need to build a national democratic economy, because where we are currently, we are not at a stage where we can transit to socialism. For us to transit to socialism, we need working industries. We need a class-conscious working class, or class-conscious workers in Zimbabwe, class-conscious peasantry, for us to transit to socialism. This is why in our party program, we say we need 15 to 20 years to build a national democratic economy based on national planning linked to devolution of power to the people. Thereafter, we transit to socialism. Comrade Lawrence Farah, you said, but you skipped me, say, I don't see your question, comrade. The first question here was from Comrade Appel. I didn't see your question. Then there was Comrade Timothy Eteta. There was Comrade Fabi, Comrade Appel again. I didn't see your question, Comrade Lawrence Farai. Maybe you needed to write it down. I didn't see it, but because of time, please write it. I will certainly respond to your question. Maybe later today. But please do write your question. Otherwise, comrades, thank you so much for taking part. We know you always complain when we do a 30-minute minutes video. We're trying to do it 20 minutes, but this is now 26 minutes. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and circulate. This information will help a lot of people. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Goodbye.